So Judy Nguru is the Senior Vice President of Strategic Development and Partnerships at Raxio Data Centers. She is responsible for the growth and expansion of Raxio across Africa and consistently applies risk analysis in her professional responsibilities. Judy is passionate about driving connectivity across Africa to create a sustainable economic impact by accelerating digital transformation as well as fostering business cultures that promotes the inclusion of all employees. So we now officially put our hands together as we bring to the microphone Judy Nguru. Karibu.
You know that moment of silence when you're thinking, how do I start my speech? That is where I am right now. I know it's the end of the evening, everybody's tired, everybody wants to go home, so I am going to try and make this as efficient as possible. I am a very professional person, so I was structured with my speech. It is written, so you will indulge me in sharing my voice. And the reason why I'm saying voice is, so I celebrated my birthday a couple of weeks back, and where we went, I lost my voice last weekend. So I'm really happy that today my voice is actually audible. So I hope I can be able to share my thoughts. So ladies and gentlemen, esteemed friends, family, and honored guests, thank you for being here today. Thank you for celebrating with us the launch of our book, We Took the Risk. Now, something I want to point out about the title is it's not we took a risk, it's we took the risk. It means that there was a point in time where we had to make decisions where one was a safer route and the other was not. And all of these co-authors have chosen to take the less safer route. And that's what brought us all together today. So the book brings to light extraordinary stories of resilience, courage, and unwavering determination. It is a privilege to stand before you to be part of this remarkable project. Now, in all honesty, when Mr. Doso contacted me about writing this book, I've heard other authors say they thought twice, they weren't sure. I jumped on it immediately. I didn't think twice. He said, "Do you want to do this?" I said, "Yes." Why? Because for me, risk is innate. It has become part of who I am. And you will see that in my chapter when you read my story. I learned how to embrace risk at a very young age because of what I was exposed to. And because I'm on that point, I will be remiss in mentioning that my mother is actually here to support me in launching my book. So the risks that I've taken, you can blame her. Sorry. So for those of you who may not know me, as introduced, my name is Judy Nguru. I am the Senior Vice President of Strategic Development at a company called Raxio Data Centers, which is headquartered in the Netherlands, had a head office in Dubai, and is now present in 7 markets. An ambition that I had taken on when I joined the company and was responsible for the expansion strategy of the company. I am also the proud mother of a 16-year-old boy and a 10-year-old girl. Those are my North Star. A lot of the times when I make a decision, it is them that I take into consideration. It is them that drive. Whether I need to calculate that risk or take what Dottie just mentioned, careless risk. Professionally, I have ventured into many aspects. Before I joined Raxio, I used to work at a company called C Squared. So C Squared was a Pan-African company. In these capacities, I had the daunting responsibilities of advising shareholders to invest $20 million, $30 million, $50 million in country Y or country X. That is a daunting responsibility. It means I need to ensure that I have done thorough market analysis and thorough risk analysis, which is why I mentioned that risk for me is innate. As we've heard from the authors today, each of us has a unique reason for contributing to this book. For me, it was a simple desire to share my voice, particularly on a topic I hold close to my heart, the need for women to take more risks. Sorry, that light is really bright. I lost my place. So, in tech, we talk about making impact, moving the needle, and becoming disruptors. To achieve this, you must take risks. Now, what does risk really mean? We've all heard different views today. Definitions such as unknown, scary, dangerous. But for others, you will hear things like exciting, invigorating, life-affirming, not knowing what will happen next, and yet it is still exciting. In reality, our perception of risk is shaped by our individual values, experiences, and perhaps even by our own fears. When I think about risk, I often think about the aspect of fear. The textbook definition of fear is an unpleasant emotion that arises when we perceive a threat. I believe that risk is both statistical and psychological. Statistically, it's the likelihood or probability of something negative happening. Psychologically, it's how we estimate that risk in our minds, the magnitude of that risk. And then there is the emotional aspect, how we feel about that risk. Is it safe? Is it not? For me, the ability to take risks is ultimately the ability to overcome that fear. That perception is not the absence of fear, but the resolve to push through. My chapter in this book is entitled Inflection Points. Those pivotal moments in life when I made the conscious choice to take this less safer route, often the most difficult path. The moments while daunting at the time, became catalysts for the development of resilience, perseverance, and adaptation in my life. Many women often gravitate toward the feelings of familiarity, safety, and comfort. But in my journey, I learned that stepping outside of my comfort zone, I was able to thrive in an uncharted territory. It wasn't always easy, but those inflection points, those moments of decision, shaped me in ways I could never have anticipated. And one that I can share with you is, for instance, the role that I play today at Raxio. I am the only Black female executive in that organization. And when I was hired for that role, when I was being hired for that role and going through the interview process, I remember thinking in my head, am I really going to be able to pull this off? And one of the phenomena that you've heard people talk about is the glass cliff, where females are put in a position of power, and yet they're not given the resources to be able to succeed in that role. I have to say that I'm tenacious, so I always find a way to find the resources to achieve in my role. And I would encourage a lot of women to do that. And how you can do that is a lot more leaning towards your support system and using the organization, policies, processes to your own advantage. It is one of the tools of trade that I have learned over time. All right, so moving on. My title is not just about inflection points. The title of my chapter also speaks about rising above the challenges that follow those decisions, about persevering, and about continually seeking growth and learning. At each inflection point, I made choices grounded in a strong belief in my path and my purpose. I relied on the power of prayer, a deep sense of conviction, and the trust that I was exactly where I needed to be. I learned to take calculated risk, to build contingency plans, and always surround myself with a support system of people who believed in me, even when I doubted myself. As a result, my journey took me to unexpected places across the globe. Each experience an opportunity for personal and professional growth. I embraced failures as lessons and new beginnings as opportunities. I learned to never shy away from standing firm in what I believed to be right, no matter the obstacles. Let me be clear. The journey of taking risks is not easy. It is not something that comes naturally to everyone. But the truth is, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. Along the way, you will encounter barriers like the glass cliff, as I mentioned earlier, stereotyping, or being labeled. But as you read my story, I hope you find inspiration to push through those barriers. When I took the road less traveled, the riskier path, it became easier over time. So much so that when this book was finally launched, many of my friends and family affirmed my identity as a risk taker. One of the key factors that has allowed me to take bold steps is a deep, unwavering understanding of who I am, what I want, and where I need to be. This clarity of purpose is built on my spiritual stillness, a quiet confidence that has guided me through every challenge. There is a quote by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie that resonates deeply with me. She says, "For every woman, you have to take the risk of being unlikable to get something done." And she goes on to remind us, remember, there are so many for whom you will be lovable. To me, this speaks to the importance of staying true to yourself, of not losing yourself in the pursuit of making others like you. It's a reminder that sometimes the greatest risk is simply unapologetically being yourself. So today, thank you. So today, I stand before you as living proof that taking bold steps, embracing challenges, and venturing into the unknown can lead to extraordinary achievements. My hope is that my story will inspire each of you to reflect on your relationship with risk and to take the first step, however small, towards the unknown. As you read my chapter, I invite you to consider this. Our journeys are not defined by the circumstances we face. And I say this with great conviction because of what's been happening in our economy, in our country today. We face... no, I was just thinking about our economy. But by the choices we make in response to them. And it is in those moments of choice when we decide to take the risk that we truly shape our destiny. Thank you for your time and for this privilege of sharing my voice.
Thank you, Judy.